being honest, transparent, and authentic. I mean, this sounds a bit management consultancy, you know, like buzzwords, throwing them around. But, you know, it's really key. I mean, that's how you tackle social media, really, in that way. You know, if you're dealing with people in social media. I mean, there's always this desire, particularly, I suppose, more in sort of PR, I suppose, but, you know, in terms of spinning things. You know, you don't need to do that. I said before, disseminating info creates goodwill in itself. You know, you can rest assured in the fact there's little you can do to influence the debate. So just send the information out and hope people can spin it for themselves. You know, don't put energy into influencing the debate. It's a waste of time and energy. Just get your product and customer service right. If you mess up, admit it and resolve the problem. And, you know, sort of studies show that if brands that listen to negative comments and make changes as a result often get more kudos from that. I mean, a really good example of this, and I haven't got it in the case studies, but is Toyota in the US. They had a big problem with one of their best-selling cars a couple of years ago after it was delivered, and a few sort of key influencers started to complain quite negatively about this car in forums and so on. And what Toyota did was, at the time, was quite revolutionary, particularly for a sort of traditional Japanese corporate, if you like, was they created sort of an open forum where they would answer questions coming from, you know, not just these irate bloggers, but anyone who had a problem with the car. And the fact that they even did that themselves created goodwill, because it started to get a lot of buzz. People were talking about, okay, yeah, Toyota might have mucked up, but look what they were doing to put it right. And the Toyota guys said that they approached it in a very humble way. They were very open, they were very credible, they were very sort of transparent and authentic. They weren't spinning anything. They were acknowledged there was a problem, and they were setting people's minds at rest about what they were going to do about it. And that gained a lot of traction, like measuring buzz afterwards. You know, there's a lot of positivity around Toyota, and they themselves said that, you know, it helped save customers, it generated positivity about the brand, it generated some loyalty and reinforced a positive association. So they were very humble. That was a word that always stuck in my mind about the way that they tackled this. So, you know, they didn't put any spin on it. They knew they'd made a mistake. They just got on with getting it right. And think what's viral about your product. I mean, you know, what's he talking about there? But, I mean, okay, Nestle's a good example. Okay, this is the UK top 3 search results for Nestle on Google, no probs. Okay, we go to 4 to 9. It's an absolute disaster zone. Look, corporate crimes, Nestle boycott, baby milk action. I mean, boycott Israel campaign. It's a horror show around the Nestle brand. I mean, that, you know, terrible. An awful thing you're looking about if your brand DNA is defined by the top 10 search results in Google. Flip that on its head, and okay, in the US, how does it look in the US? Well, completely different story. And why is that? The 3rd and 4th search results is about recipes. Nestle clicked quite early on that, you know, obviously their products are heavily used as ingredients in cooking and baking and so on, and what's very viral are recipes. People love to share them, swap recipes and so on, and they've tapped into that. They've thought, well, this is what's viral, and they've created their own, I think it's called verybestbaking.com. You know, it's their own sort of branded recipe site. You know, it's not overly branded, actually, to be fair, but it is their site. But it's very, you know, they've tapped into that, and it's just thinking, again, you know, think about what's viral about your particular product. I mean, you know, it's easier said than done, I know, but, you know, whatever it might be. I mean, bandages, you know, people have interest in health and injuries and so on, whatever it might be. There's an element of community in almost every product out there. People need it in their daily lives, otherwise they wouldn't be buying it. They need it. So there's some element of community and virality around even the most mundane products. So just, you know, try and tap into that if you can. Just to finish with just a sort of a few observations on 3 attempts to embrace social media. Again, could have picked a lot more, but you know, I think to keep it nice and simple, just lessons learned from different attempts. The first one, I don't know why the bottom right-hand corner hasn't come out, but hands up if you know what this relates to. It's quite a famous one. This one. All good. Excellent. Oh, excellent. I thought everyone would go up. Okay, this was about 2 years ago. It was one of the really early case studies about social media and how perhaps not to do it. Chevy Tahoe, it's one of the biggest selling SUVs in the States, and they, in their infinite wisdom, their advertising agency decided to create a microsite where people could create their own Chevy Tahoe ads. And there were little video clips, there was music, there was the ability to create text. So the idea was that you created your own website, your own advert. I'm not sure what the purpose was. I don't know whether it was the best one would be shown as their Super Bowl advert. I'm not sure. But anyway, that was the call to action. And of course, what happened was that people went there. All the videos that went massively viral, the most popular ones on YouTube, were all about how bad Chevy was, about how they're polluting the earth, they're contributing to global warming, they're responsible for the war in Iraq, deforestation. The only people who buy Chevy Tahoes either have no friends at school or have certain sexual inadequacies, and they have to mask that by buying a massive, massive car. So, you know, I mean, I've called this one ugly. I mean, you could argue it's bad, but I mean, they put quite a positive spin on it afterwards, saying, well, you know, at least we tried it, and it got a lot of attention for the car. But, you know, I think the message from this is when you're embracing social media, and to be honest, you know, credit to them, they were one of the first people to really go, I mean, they did go a bit gung-ho, but, you know, they tried it, maybe it works on some elements, not on others, but it's treading carefully, obviously. You know, you don't have a huge element of control in social media, and you have to be really creative when you think about what you're doing, just in terms of, well, how could it be spun in ways that we hadn't thought? So, you know, just something to bear in mind. I mean, there are other examples, but that's quite a fun one. I mean, go and have a look on YouTube and do Chevy Tahoe. Some of them are absolutely brilliant. They're really, really good.